Coming up on News 11, the Buffalo Sabres host Pride Night, President Biden signs an executive order to protect women's reproductive health, and the 2024 Lollapalooza lineup is announced. These stories and more, News 11 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to News 11. I'm Chloe Kwolek.
And I'm Katie Lee.
We have a lot of exciting stories to cover, so let's get started with your local news. A Festivals Fredonia volunteer has been named a finalist for Remarkable Woman of the Year. Michelle Ludeman, Free Joy, has been selected as one of 4 finalists across Western New York for Next Star's Remarkable Woman of the Year honor. The award is in celebration of Women's History Month. The winner of the award receives a $1,000 charitable donation and is then entered into the Next Star Woman of the Year contest. Joy was nominated by Fredonia Administrator Judy Horowitz for her hard work and dedication to the town. Joy serves on the Chamber of Commerce and has volunteered with Festivals Fredonia for several years. She also won the Community Service Award from the Chamber of Commerce back in 2020.
The Dunkirk City School District is looking for an increased budget for the 2024-2025 school year. This new budget would approximate around $59 million, up to 4.6% from last year. Dunkirk Superintendent Michael Mansfield cited several different programs that would need the increased budget. For instance, the special education budget alone requires over $1 million allocated. In addition, the district will now pay for an after-school program funded by a state grant that ran out, adding $288,050 in cost. The budget will be discussed again today in board meetings.
The 4 fire departments in Chautauqua County are considering merging. These departments are the Chautauqua Volunteer Fire Department, DeWittville Fire Department, Hartfield Volunteer Fire Company, and the Mayville Fire Department. All the departments are fully volunteer, and this merger will help the departments with funding for different equipment. The village seems to be in approval, and while no decision is made yet, a decision is expected to be made soon about whether or not the departments will merge.
A new American History Museum will feature an Indigenous woman's perspective. Odie Brant Porter, a Seneca Nation counselor and member of the Turtle Clan, will now have a role in the Smithsonian's Future American Women's History Museum. Porter will be on the advisory board to help bring education and information about how the story of an Indigenous woman should be told. Porter says she is excited to cover how Indigenous women shaped American history as well as the suffragette movement. According to Porter, the new Women's History Museum is still in its planning phase and is about 8 years away from officially opening its doors.
This past Monday, March 18th, Governor Kathy Hochul has announced that $6.9 million will be given to the Silver Creek Senior Housing Project. This project includes the demolition of the Silver Creek High School and will construct a 54-unit senior housing development. Of those 54 units, 50 of those will be apartments, and they will be set aside to seniors experiencing homelessness. The developers of the project are Park Grove Development LLC and Southern Tier Environments for Living Incorporation. The housing project will also receive $297,000 in Clean Energy Initiative funds to pursue strength certifications goals. The money given to the Silver Creek Apartments project was part of a $260 million project through tax credits and subsidies to create and preserve over 1,000 sustainable homes in New York State, according to Governor Hochul. The projects will expand and project the housing supply in every region and is part of the governor's comprehensive agenda to address New York's housing crisis and reduce the housing cost for New Yorkers.
This weekend, a sweet treat is popping up in Western New York as it is Maple Weekend. This coming weekend, March 23rd and 24th, the maple producers of Western New York are celebrating all things maple, which allows people to secure their own maple syrup, sweet maple treats, and see how maple syrup is made firsthand, and all of its traditions. Maple Weekend has been around since 2000 and helps to boost and celebrate the maple producers community, as New York is the second largest maple producing state with over 2.5 million taps. Most maple spots will open this weekend, celebrating from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For information on where to find all things Maple, you can visit mapleweekend.com/producers.
Last week was a very emotional time for Hamburg resident Tony Cavallero, losing his pet alligator of over 30 years. Albert the alligator was purchased at a reptile show in 1990 as a baby and has been living with Cavallero ever since. Although he had a permit, the DEC seized the 11-foot, 800-pound alligator last Wednesday, not giving Tony a chance to say goodbye. The seizure was due to the DEC's statement that the owner has allowed public contact with the animal. This is prohibited and grounds for license revocation and relocation of the animal. However, community members are on their neighbor's side, and a petition was started to reunite Albert with his owner, with thousands of signatures already and more flowing in. Cavallero has said, quote, "I'm Albert's dad. That's all there is to it. He's like family to everybody," end quote. Albert was turned over to a licensed caretaker and will then be transported to a permanent care facility along with evidence seized during the warrant. The DEC will consult a veterinarian to determine any potential charges to Cavallero. He expects to be charged with a violation but has not received a court date or any information.
Last Tuesday, Hamburg School Board and Superintendent took questions from students, parents, and teachers on the topic of their 17 layoffs. During the presentation, the district revealed that it would be laying off 2 English teachers, 1 business, 2 math, 2 science, 3 social studies, 1 Spanish, 1 Latin, 1 health, and 3 non-educator positions. In the same presentation, the board announced they would not be replacing 7 vacancies left by retiring educators and also remove 3 part-time offerings, bringing the total number of affected positions to 27. Superintendent Mike Cornell, who has held his position for the past decade, expressed his regret at the firings, stating, quote, "We feel awful. The last thing we want to do is lay off a single teacher," end quote. Local community members feel blindsided by the decisions, including the Hamburg Central PTSA president, Jessica Reyna, who said, quote, "I had no idea. I attend most of the Board of Education meetings. I have almost monthly district meetings. I go to building meetings for middle school and Charlotte Ave. Did not have any idea this was coming," end quote. The superintendent does not believe anything can be done to save the positions.
The Vice President for Finance and Administration at SUNY Fredonia has announced that he will be leaving the position after only a little over a year. Michael Kelly will be moving on to the Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Management Services of Williamsville Central School District. Last year, he expressed his excitement to return to Fredonia to work after earning his degree from here. While in the role, he earned a salary of $134,092. He now expresses his excitement to be working for a K-12 district with a shining reputation for learning. He will begin in his new role on May 1st.
On Thursday, March 14th, the Buffalo Sabres hosted their 4th annual Pride Night at the KeyBank Center. The team partnered with Western New York Pride organizations, GLIS of WNY, Niagara Pride Center of WNY, and Upstate New York Black and Latino Pride. The organizations also had tables set up in the arena, as they participated in giveaways and other activities throughout the night. Community leader Alexander Burgos said, quote, "Tonight's event is so significant because around the country you see strides to erase LGBTQ folks, not only from history but from our presence. The Sabres tonight are taking a stance in saying that they support our community while giving back to organizations that work year-round," end quote. Many organizations look forward to a continuous partnership with the Buffalo Sabres, as the team continues to support and advocate for the LGBTQ community. Nights like this will bring together a community to celebrate diversity. And when we return, we'll have your national stories. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go. near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Governor Ron DeSantis has deployed over 250 law enforcement officers and soldiers to the Florida Keys in order to respond to a, quote, possibility of invasion, end quote, from migrants fleeing Haiti. Haitian citizens are looking to flee the country after the recent gang-led coup d'etat that has resulted in instability in the island country. Gangs appear to have more guns than the police, who have all but disappeared as kidnappings and murders plague the island. Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry has announced that he will step aside after coming into power unelected in 2021 due to the assassination of his predecessor, Jovenel Moïse. The gang violence intensified after Henry has failed to hold the last elections last month, citing country's instability as the cause despite the ongoing crisis in Haiti. The United States Coast Guard has not seen an increase in migrants fleeing the island, leading many community leaders and some elected officials to question why exactly Governor DeSantis has deployed such a force. Many Haitian community leaders believe it to be a politically motivated decision. Florida State Representative Dottie Joseph, who was born in Haiti, went as far to say, quote, "We need to treat those fleeing with violence with dignity and compassion, rather than manipulating the situation for political gain," end quote.
Former President and 2024 presidential candidate Donald Trump is facing several difficulties making his bond in response to the convictions he has been receiving in the past year. Right now, Trump is unable to find an insurance company to underwrite his bond to cover the judgment against him in the New York fraud case through the district attorney. Trump has reportedly reached out to around 30 underwriters to back the bond, which is due by the end of the month. The potential underwriters they do have are requesting cash back, not properties, which makes things difficult for the former president. The current amount of the bond exceeds $464 million.
The 81-year-old fabric store Joann has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. While this does not mean stores are closing, Joann's stock is now delisted from NASDAQ and will become privately owned. This bankruptcy allows for Joann to receive $132 million in funding cutting its $1 billion debt in half. Joann had a soar of business during the pandemic as many people were stuck at home and invested in arts and crafts. But because of the recent inflation, people have swayed away from spending money on non-essential items as well as going to other competitor chains with lower prices. Joann Fabrics plans for the bankruptcy process to happen as fast as next month, and with this inflow of cash, allow them to enhance the customer experience when shopping.
This past Monday, President Biden signed a new executive order to protect women's reproductive health. The president is stationing women's health care at the front of his campaign for the 2024 election. The order will improve research on women's health at the federal level, increase funding, and integrate the issue into several government agencies. This comes after the overturning of Roe v. Wade and recent threats to IVF treatment. Vice President Harris toured a Planned Parenthood in Minnesota last week, making her the first ever sitting president or vice president to visit an abortion provider. After 20 actions will be taken at the federal level from this order, along with $200 million in interdisciplinary research. Voters have indicated that reproductive rights are playing a large part in their ballot decisions this year.
It's been 1 week since University of Missouri student Riley Strain disappeared in downtown Nashville after being kicked out of a bar. A massive search effort continues for the 22-year-old. Metro Nashville police say they've cleared the banks of the Cumberland River, where Strain was last seen by people living in homeless camps. Strain was not seen leaving the area, so that's where police have centered their search. The Office of Emergency Management said boats will be back out on the water Saturday using sonar. Police said no foul play is suspected, and officers are treating this as a missing persons case. Meanwhile, the Tennessee Alcoholic Beverage Commission is investigating to see if Luke's 32 Bridge bar overserved Strain and broke state law. The bar said Strain only had 1 alcoholic drink and 2 waters while he was there.
United Airlines CEO is unveiling a new plan aimed at bolstering customers' confidence when flying. This month alone, there has been at least 6 incidents that have occurred mid-flight. It's been a challenging month for United Airlines, with multiple flight mishaps making headlines, compounded by the fact that United is Boeing's biggest customer in the U.S., and Boeing is under a federal investigation following a string of quality control lapses and in-flight incidents in recent months. Now, United CEO Scott Kirby is stressing the importance of safety to customers in a message Monday. United's most recent event happened last Friday in Medford, Oregon. One of their Boeing 737-800s landed and was found to have a missing panel under a wing, forcing the tower to halt all air traffic while crews searched for it in the ground. Amber Judd, airport director in Rogue Valley in Medford Airport, said, quote, "We didn't find any debris or any panels or anything, so operations continued normally," end quote. Among other recent incidents, the engine of a Boeing 737-900 caught fire after takeoff from Houston, then same city, different jet. A Boeing 737 MAX slid off a runway, and internationally, a Boeing 777 left Sydney leaking hydraulic fluid. In all cases, the planes landed safely. Kirby assured customers that unrelated incidents did get the airline's attention, and United has sharpened its focus and will now expand training programs for pilots and mechanics, along with dedicating more resources to manage its supplier network. All moves designed to make flyers feel more comfortable about boarding United jets as the busy summer travel season nears. And when we return, Jenna joins us for our sports update, and we'll have Anna for your first look at weather. We'll be right back.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. 'Cause when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting
and even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together.
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort
to get to know each other.
on a deeper level.
Father,
Cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor.
it's time we take a step forward
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together.
and discover
How accepting our differences
Can make us stronger.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes.
Make a plan today.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and And it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
We're now joined by Jenna Polito, who will be giving us our weekly sports update. What's going on in sports, Jenna?
Thanks, Chloe. With the weather starting to change and hopefully get it warmer, our spring sports have gotten underway. This past weekend, the men's baseball team traveled to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for their spring training. On Friday, March 15th, the boys played against the University of Olivet, which resulted in a 13-7 loss. 3 different players tallied an RBI: Christian Pagano, Tyler Curtis, and Matt Wojcik. On Saturday, March 16th, the boys faced off against St. Joseph's University of Long Island, which resulted in a 5-1 loss for the Blue Devils. The lone scorer for the game for Fredonia was Ethan Benk, with Dominic Haycock bringing him home for an RBI. Their season officially starts this weekend as they travel to Brockport to face off against the Golden Eagles on Friday and Saturday. The women's softball team traveled to Kissimmee, Florida this past weekend for their spring training as well. On Friday, the girls started the day off with a doubleheader as they played Ohio Northern at noon and Rutgers Newark at 2 o'clock. The girls were able to take a win in both of these games as they beat Ohio Northern with a score of 5-4, with the Blue Devils tallying a total of 7 hits, 5 RBIs, and 5 runs. There are 6 different Blue Devils making an appearance in the hitting column, with Madison DeVore being the only girl with 2 or more hits. Allie Wandell, Alyssa Santiago, Hannah Messopretz, and Courtney Perigoski all got an RBI. Game 2 of the day for the girls against Rutgers Newark resulted in a big 5-0 win for the Blue Devils. With a total of 29 at-bats, the girls had 9 hits, 4 RBIs, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Madison Lowe tallied 2 RBIs for the Blue Devils, and Megan Guidry and Jordan Kanik both tallied 2 hits. The girls' season officially starts on April 2nd as they travel to Alfred to take on the Saxons. Women's lacrosse has had a record of 4-2 as they got another win this past weekend against the Keuka Wolves. The girls made a statement as they won this game 17-4, with 2 Blue Devils scoring 3 or more goals, which were Sydney Bucco with 4 and Megan Caruso with 5. The Blue Devils outshot the Wolves 37-13. They look to stay in the winning column next week, Wednesday, as they travel to Brockport, facing off against the Golden Eagles. Moving into Buffalo sports, this past Saturday, the Bandits faced off against their rival, the Toronto Rock, in a home game where they wore their notorious green jerseys for St. Patrick's Day. This was another huge game, as not only is Toronto a rival, but they are also top 3 in the league. The Bandits were able to come out on top as they won the game 14-12. Dane Smith and Josh Byrne both tallied a total of 7 points, and Matt Vank stopped 46 shutouts to keep the team in and come out with a win. They look to keep the winning streak alive this Friday as they travel to Fort Worth, Texas to face off against Panther City. The Buffalo Sabres are still pushing to make a wildcard spot as they are currently in the top 5 in the wildcard race, taking a huge win over the Seattle Kraken on Monday night with a score of 6-2. The Sabres are looking to capture a couple of wins on this Western road trip. Last night, they faced off against a top 3 team in the league, the Vancouver Canucks. They were searching to keep the winning streak alive, but unfortunately failed to do so. The game ended with a score of 3-1 in favor of the Canucks, as the total shots for the game were 34 for Vancouver and 17 for Sabres. Devin Levi stood tall in net for Buffalo as he stopped 31 out of 34 total shots faced, and assistant captain Rasmus Dahlin was able to get one of Buffalo's goals. They look to get back into the winning column and push for the playoffs as they face off against the Edmonton Oilers this Thursday at 9 p.m. and Sunday against the Calgary Flames at 9 p.m. as well.
And we're now joined by Anna for our weather forecast. What do you have for us, Anna?
Thank you, Chloe. Today we finally saw the snowy days calm down as we had a high of 40 degrees with a low of 31. We saw a few flurries and felt a bit of chill winds with up to 15 miles per hour. As we move into Saturday, the temperature will drop again to a high of 36 degrees. It will be cloudy throughout the day with a 60% chance of snow showers. In the morning, we will feel the chill throughout the day with winds of 15 miles per hour again, and it will get even cooler at night with a low of 25 degrees. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much for joining us for your very first time on Weather, Anna. And when we return, we'll have your international headlines. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Here are a few updates on the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. In Gaza, food is scarce as a growing number of babies are facing acute hunger. According to the World Health Organization, WHO is issuing another warning about the lack of humanitarian rights and growing mistreatment of Palestinians. The UN Human Rights Chief has said that Israel's restrictions on aid to Gaza amount to the war crime of starvation, and Israeli military raid continues at Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa. Israel has claimed that the site was being used by Hamas, yet thousands of people are using the site for shelter. It is expected that U.S. and Israeli officials will meet in Washington next week to discuss alternatives to the planned military in Rafah. In Rafah, about 1.5 million people are sheltering as it remains one of the last safe spaces for Palestinians. Netanyahu has said that Israel is, quote, determined to act in Rafah in order to finally eliminate the remaining Hamas battalions, end quote.
Talk continues to circulate online regarding the well-being of Princess Kate Middleton of Wales. The princess was hospitalized in the middle of January for an abdominal surgery and has only been seen a few times since then. This past weekend, her and her family were seen in a local farm shop, seemingly healthy and well. However, with such a long time away from the public eye and the recent editing mistake on her social media, the public worries about her relationship with Kensington Palace. The palace has made no statements on her behalf, and she is expected to return to her duties after Easter.
10 shipwrecks have been discovered by researchers off the coast of Greece, with one even being estimated at 5,000 years old. The research team commenced a 4-year survey using Homer's Iliad as a guide to the shipwrecks. Of the 10 doomed vessels, the oldest was dated to 3000 BC. However, the ships sank in many different eras, including the Classical era, the Hellenistic period, the Roman Empire, the Byzantine era empire, and even as recent as the World War II era. Nearby the wrecks was a treasure trove of unique finds originating from Spain, Italy, Africa, and Asia Minor, including Spanish amphora dating back to 150 to 170 AD. The team found all of the wrecks off the coast of Kazos, a small island that served as a major trading hub in Inequity. The team of international researchers is composed of historians, architects, geologists, diving archaeologists, and even some postgraduate students. And after the break, a look a look at the new Mr. Beast reality TV show, and the results of the GLAAD Awards. We'll be right back.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
SZA, Tyler the Creator, Blink-182, and The Killers are among the headliners at the 20th anniversary Chicago Lollapalooza Festival. Organizers revealed the lineup this week, and some of the other 170 performers include Hozier, Stray Kids, Melanie Martinez, and Skrillex. The festival runs August 1st through the 4th at Grant Park. It's a milestone this year as it marks the 20th anniversary in the Windy City. Tickets will go on sale tomorrow.
As of Monday, the popular YouTuber Mr. Beast will now have a reality TV show on Amazon Prime called Beast Games. Beast Games is planned to feature over 1,000 contestants, $5 million in prizes, and other world records. Mr. Beast, also known as Jimmy Donaldson, plans for it to be, quote, the largest game show in history, end quote. Donaldson chose to go with Amazon in the help of creating his show, as they gave him the most creative control in the making of this show, as he plans to be both the host and executive producer. He plans to have the show still bring a sense of YouTube authenticity, as the show will not be scripted and will feature upwards to 6 hours of content in an episode.
This past Thursday, the GLAAD Awards celebrated their 35th anniversary of their annual award show. The night featured special music performances from Chloe Bailey and Kate Hudson. They also honored a wide array of media from film, television, journalism, and music that accurately represents the LGBTQ+ community and highlights such individuals who stand on the forefront of the ongoing battle of inclusivity. Some of the awards included RuPaul's Drag Race for Outstanding Reality Competition Program, Renaissance, a film by Beyonce, and Renee Rapp for Outstanding Music Artist, where in her acceptance speech, she called for the ceasefire of the Israel-Hamas conflict. The remaining winners of the GLAAD Awards will be announced at the GLAAD's New York ceremony on May 11th. Now we're going to toss it to Anna one more time tonight for the end of the weekend weather. How does it look, Anna?
Thank you, Chloe. As we get into Sunday, we will finally see the sun again with few clouds throughout the day. It will be a high of 38 degrees, and the winds will finally come down to 5 to 10 miles per hour. As we head into Monday, we will finally start to see some of that spring weather. Once again, as we will have a high of 52 degrees, it will be partly cloudy throughout the day, and as we head into the night, the temperature will drop down to 40 degrees. And that's all for the weather this week. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Anna. That does it for News 11 this week. Thank you to our behind-the-scenes crew, and we'll be back next week.
And as always, thank you to everyone watching at home. Have a great night.